Ladies and gentlemen, everything stems from the weekly chart right now on Bitcoin. Okay, the 24.5K support zone is a weekly chart support zone. The moving averages that are very important for Bitcoin are weekly chart moving averages. But as we enter this weekly candle close in 3 days and 23 hours, we enter the moment of truth. Not only is the weekly chart important, even though it is the most important, it's not the only important chart. Okay, there are things like monthly returns on Bitcoin indicating perhaps a very bullish October. There are also things like a bullish pennant formation forming on the hourly chart. There are also things like RSI breakout on the daily chart that all kind of build up to this weekly candle close. And overall, it's the weekly candle in 3 days and 23 hours. That is the moment of truth that we need to be looking at for Bitcoin. What will happen at the weekly? Why is it important? Why do we need to look at it? How do we react? Guys, all those questions will be answered today. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, the charts we'll be looking at today are the Bitcoin range-bound chart, just to get some context of where Bitcoin actually is. We'll also be diving into the Bitcoin daily chart, focusing in on the Bitcoin hourly chart as well, which is in a triangular formation, highlighting the importance of this moment as we head into resistance. Bitcoin dominance is quite important right now as well. It's quite indicative of what's actually meant to happen. And the weekly chart, of course, as I've been saying for videos and videos on end, this is the most important chart that Bitcoin has currently. The monthly kind of cyclical chart, we'll just briefly dive into that to get some more context on Bitcoin. And then we're looking into monthly returns on Bitcoin and looking into the idea that we could be seeing a very, very bullish October based on monthly historical returns, in the same way that the bears were saying we'd be seeing a red September. Now, I don't necessarily agree that monthly returns are a big deal in terms of, the trend in terms of predicting price action, but I think it is worth looking at just briefly as well. So before we get into any of that, guys, I want to say this video will be relatively short. I want to skim through some information here. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but we do have the VIP group that you can check out on Telegram. Check out the information group. All the information about the VIP group is in the information group, including payment information, including what you get access to, including trading results. Go ahead and do that. We have a 79% win rate in there, which is 4 out of every 5 trades reaching profit. Absolutely exceptional profits being had in the VIP group for trading altcoins. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. All right, bit of context for where Bitcoin is right now. As I said, I'm going to try skim through information today. Bit of context for where it is right now. As you guys might already know, we have 3 distinctive ranges on Bitcoin. We have this red range down here. We have this orange range down here. We have this green range here. And obviously, that means that Bitcoin is in the green range. Therefore, we have resistance at the bottom of the range sitting at 24.5K on the weekly candle. And we have, support there. And we have resistance at the top of the range sitting at 32K. So obviously, breaking 32K would be good for Bitcoin. It would get us back kind of in this momentum territory, get us back up here, which is where we saw the vast majority of the bull market. And if we break below 24.5K, it would be a step in the wrong direction, right? It'd knock us back down. We'd be back in a consolidation range that we saw for over a year, and we would have lost this range in a double top formation. So ideally, well, I mean, it really is quite important actually that Bitcoin does not lose 24.5K. If we do lose 24.5K, it's not technically the end of the world. 4-year cycle theory is quite clear in stating, as you can see on the screen, that there are various date range trends on Bitcoin. But as you can see on the screen as well, there are no price trends on Bitcoin. There's no trends in the 4-year cycle that are based on price points. And so long as we don't go to a new low, so long as we don't go below 15.4K and hence break the date range prediction about when the next bottom will be, we don't really have much to worry about. So technically speaking, I mean, on a cyclical basis, Bitcoin can break below 24.5K and we'd be all good. It wouldn't really matter from a cyclical basis because, as I said, 4-year cycle is a date range trend. It's not based on price points, but it wouldn't be ideal because it'd be a step back in the wrong direction. Obviously, we don't want to see Bitcoin consolidate and go downwards for months and months and months. I also don't think it's necessarily confirmed that we have to do that. I think that Bitcoin is currently right now in a bit of a moment of truth, and that is where I'm getting potentially the name of the title of the thumbnail. I haven't decided yet, but we could be seeing a moment of truth here. Well, we are seeing a moment of truth here, and this is where we get into the weekly chart, and we'll dive back into daily. Right, we are on support right now, 24.5K, and we have various indicators that are supporting that support. Okay, look at the screen here. You'll see Gaussian channel center line, which is extremely important. Very, very crucial support zone, sitting right there on top of 24.5K with the 50-week SMA. Both those lines are sitting right there at 24.5K. Then you look upwards and you see that supporting the resistance that we're testing right now, okay, that we're kind of rejecting from briefly is the bull market support band, which is extremely important, and the 200-week SMA, which is extremely important. 200-week SMA marked the bottoms in previous bear markets, and bull market support band has kind of been something we've been, riding for resistance, it's riding for support, I should say, and rejecting from for resistance for the entire lifespan of Bitcoin. So the point is, the support and resistance stems further than just the horizontal and diagonal lines. It actually moves through into moving averages as well. And right now, what I mean by moment of truth, I mean we're testing bull market support band from a downside. Guys, when we get above this thing, okay, it's very, very rare for us to drop below it again. Okay, immediately. We see us get above it, for example, 2020. We kind of held this thing for basically a year and a half throughout the entirety of the bull market. When we finally lost it, we saw a 40% correction downwards. When we got back above it again, okay, we managed to hold it for support. We bounced upwards, saw 2 legs upwards. When we got below it, we held it for the entire way downwards in the bear market until the market bottom. The fact of the matter is, you can go back in history and do some of these observations for yourself. The fact of the matter is, getting above bull market support band is not a small deal. If we get above this thing on the weekly candle close in 3 days and 23 hours, close above 28K, that will be indicative of Bitcoin entering another leg to the upside, which would most likely result in a break of 32K, and hence a break of this green range and getting back into this bullish territory up here where we saw the vast majority of the gains of the bull market. So you can see what I mean by moment of truth, not even just on weekly perspective, although the weekly chart is incredibly important right now. It is, as I said, the most important chart for Bitcoin. But even on a daily perspective, we can see it resonate, right? We broke the RSI resistance on the daily chart. We've seen a move upwards from support. We saw a very deep bounce into this green support box, which is around 24.5K. We saw a very strong uptrend since then in the last 7 or 8 days, and we've moved upwards, and now we're rejecting from multiple yellow resistance lines, which actually line up perfectly with the bull market support band. You can see the bull market support band, as I just looked down the weekly chart, displayed on a daily chart, lines up perfectly with these yellow resistance lines. Now, I would never ever suggest to you guys ever that you should long into resistance. I think that longing right now is a stupid idea. Wait until we get above 28K, all right? What I will say is this. I will say that Bitcoin is now seeing, okay, potentially the most important few days that it has seen ever since this retest, okay? So, yeah, it hasn't been a long time, but overall, I mean, this is very, very important because what this test provides for us is basically whether Bitcoin is going to break to the upside, break above bull market support band, and hence get above 32K essentially, or reject back downwards and retest the support box. And I don't know how confident I am that another retest of the support box will hold. I think that after that last retest, we will most likely break down if we go down and retest this green box again. So it is very important that Bitcoin breaks upwards here. Not even specifically right now, but forms a lower, higher low and then breaks upwards in the future. We can't really go back down too far. If we go back down to 25K, it's looking really, really bad for Bitcoin. We don't really have much room to move here at all. And looking into hourly chart, we can see that we have a pennant formation here. Well, technically speaking, it's a bullish pennant formation, but given the fact that the trajectory into it was quite low, I think it's more akin to a symmetrical triangle formation, which still is technically bullish, but given the fact that we have vicious resistance, I mean, I don't know how bullish you can be about it. The fact of the matter is you have to wait for the breakout. And right now, this pennant formation, or triangle formation, whatever you want to call it, is breaking out within basically the next 24 or 36 hours. And this is kind of the structure that everyone should be watching right now. Should this break to the upside, it's looking very good. Should this break to the upside, Bitcoin's very likely to make another attempt at breaking 28K. Should it break to the downside, it's very likely that Bitcoin goes downwards and tests some of these lower support levels at these red lines. And again, if we break down below this red line over here, go down in this green box, Bitcoin's in big, big danger. So we do have a little bit of room for breathing on Bitcoin, but ultimately, not much, right? It's very, very important that Bitcoin breaks this pennant to the upside. Not even this pennant, right? This pennant is not actually the important part, really. I mean, the important part is Bitcoin doesn't go back down to this green box. We can do whatever we want up here. We can delay the process however long we want. The fact of the matter is we need to get above 28K before we start going back down to this green box again. Because going down to that green box once more is going to put us in a very dangerous territory. So it is the moment of truth in the sense that, yes, this pennant is important, but this pennant is not really everything. Okay, this pennant most likely, like it always does, will lead into something else. It will probably see a fake out of some sort. You generally see fake outs at major levels like this that complicate the structure. But I think that, it certainly is an aspect of what's important right here. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets too messy to even keep in line with a pennant, to be honest with you. I think there will be a solid chance of massive fake outs here, but I think that, if on the occurrence that we do see an upside break, I think that's putting us in a good position to potentially attack that 28K region. But ultimately right now, what I mean by moment of truth I'm talking really about the weekly chart. I'm talking really about the next 3 days and 23 hours, because it's the weekly chart, okay, that determines a break below 24.5k being a break of this range. That's a weekly chart level. 24.5k was a weekly candle close level, okay? So it's the weekly chart that determines when we break down, and hence it has to be the weekly chart when it's that determines when we break upwards. And so I'm looking at the bull market support band. I'm looking at the 200-week SMA. I'm looking at these indicators here. To get above in the next 3 days and 24 hours, to close above 28k, which is only 1,000 USD to the upside, for us to be bullish on Bitcoin. That's what I'm looking at, and that's what I mean by the moment of truth. I want to also look into the Bitcoin monthly returns before I end this video, but before we do that, just a quick little 1-minute advertisement for Bitget and BingX Exchange. Please stick around for it, and we'll get back into the content in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a little news flash for you. You trust exchanges with your money. They get hacked all the time. They lose funds all the time. So the exchange you're using, you're actually trusting with your money. You're also paying them fees for trades. You're paying up to thousands, tens of thousands of dollars per year in fees. So you want to have a bloody good exchange, right? And that's why I have 2 exchanges for you guys, 2 options depending on your location, depending on what you want from exchange. The first one is Bitget. That is a KYC exchange. You can sign up from anywhere in the world, excluding the United States, excluding Canada, and excluding Singapore. Very low fees, protection fund, the whole 9 yards. We've also got BingX. That's our second exchange, and that is an exchange you can sign up non-KYC from anywhere in the world, including every country, right? With a VPN from anywhere in the world. Again, very low fees, protection fund, everything you need in an exchange. Both of these exchanges are top 10 exchanges in trading volume. Sign up using my referral link below to get a 15% trading fee discount on both of the exchanges. Again, they'll both be in the description. Referral link is there. Get on the good exchange and become a proper trader. Don't use these trashy exchanges that you're risking your money and paying over in fees. Guys, let's get back into the video. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I'm not going to look at Bitcoin dominance. I don't actually see it as particularly important. I did think I'd look into it, but I won't anymore. What I want to look at before I end the video is Bitcoin monthly returns. Obviously, you guys have heard over and over again from many, many people now that September is a red month for Bitcoin. September generally leads to drops on Bitcoin. And that's true, right? Historically speaking, it has led to drops on Bitcoin. In fact, out of the 10 Septembers we've ever seen, we've only seen 2 of them be green. But the thing is, I want to remind you that yes, the vast majority of Septembers have been red, but they haven't been very red. Okay, the average downwards price action in September is like -6%, -5%, which really isn't actually that extreme. And as of right now, we're heading towards the end of September. We've got 9 days remaining, and we've seen a +4% in the price. So I don't think that September, even though, yeah, it's technically the most bearish month for Bitcoin, I actually don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's overplayed in how big it is. For example, last September during peak bear market, we only saw a 3% negative return, which is basically nothing, right? So what I actually would say is that October, if we're going to look at monthly chart returns, which I think you have to be careful in doing, but if you're going to do it, I think that you can say that October is actually a very bullish month, okay? Because October, we've only seen 2 red Octobers, okay? And we've seen 8 red Octobers as well. So 2 red Octobers, 8 green Octobers. And as I said with September, we've seen 2 green Septembers and 8 red. So it's kind of the opposite. It's kind of a reverse. But the difference is, okay, the average return in October is actually significant. The average bullish return in October is like 20%. So if we're going off these monthly chart trends, we would actually be expecting a 20% return in October, roughly, which would be huge for Bitcoin. That would bring Bitcoin upwards like 6,000 USD, 7,000 USD in the price action. So, you know, if we're going to take these monthly trends seriously, which I actually don't personally, but a lot of people do, then you should be expecting a very bullish October coming up. And I just wanted to point that out because I think it's very interesting to look at. So, moment of truth, okay, going into a potentially bullish October. You know, what are we going to see next for Bitcoin? It's hard to say. But what I will say is this, everyone should be watching the weekly chart, okay? Because the weekly chart is going to tell you exactly what we're going to see. If we see a weekly candle close above 28K, that is going to put Bitcoin in an extraordinarily good position. And that is where you can mark some more macro buys, in my opinion, as well as a break of 32K. But until then, Bitcoin's still in danger. It's still in a danger zone. And that's just how we're looking at Bitcoin right now. So guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to do some advertisements before I end the video. I would appreciate it if you stuck around for the advertisements and listened to what I have to say here. First and foremost, Crypto Academy, Become a Trader 10-unit course. This will teach you everything you need to know about trading. You can read the bio on the website. You can read the course description on the website. You can read what our unit topics are, what it offers you exactly, including slides, worksheets, videos, etc. And then you can read how many students we have, and you can ultimately throw us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. Guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.